The NCAA is appealing a Mississippi State judge's decision to allow Trinidad Chambliss to play another year at Ole Miss. Let's talk about what it is that they are appealing and how this can affect Trinidad Chambliss, the Rebels, and college football's future. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a set mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you think the NCAA has a case in its appeal to overturn a judge's decision to grant Trinidad Chambliss another year of eligibility for this 2026 season? The NCAA did not run out of ink. 658-page filing to the Mississippi State Supreme Court asking it to overturn an injunction and expedite the ruling for reasons that feel obvious, but we'll get to. So the NCAA is asking the court for an interlocutory review of the trial's court order. So inside the filing, you'll see if courts can intervene in NCAA eligibility decisions to provide special treatment to favored athletes, then the NCAA's ability to ensure fair athletic competition in which all participants play by the same rules will depend upon the whims of trial courts throughout the country, which has been the case. The NCAA has been sued nearly 60 times, challenging its eligibility rulings, trying to earn another year here and there for players that essentially have run out of their 5 years to play for. And at the heart of the NCAA's filing is a really interesting note here. The NCAA members and student athletes will be irreparably harmed in the absence of this review. The preliminary injunction provides the respondent with an additional year of eligibility that is unavailable to other student athletes under NCAA bylaws. Under the trials court order, we're talking about Mississippi will enjoy the benefit of rostering a star quarterback who is no longer eligible to compete. Such an outcome is unfair to D1 schools who follow the rules and must compete against Ole Miss in the 2026-2027 Division I football season, or who may be displaced from the postseason by Ole Miss. That harm cannot be undone through an appellate decision that follows a final judgment on the merits. Additionally, the injunction order threatens harm to Ole Miss as rostering an ineligible quarterback risks sanctions under the NCAA's rule of restitution. And the other quarterbacks on Ole Miss's roster who would have the opportunity to start or otherwise compete in contests next season will also be harmed if Trinidad Chambliss takes that opportunity away from them. There it is. It's pretty clear what the NCAA is arguing and what it says the damages will be. I think for the present, the hope for Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss is that they can get this locked up in court for evermore, frankly, because as soon as this gets settled one way or another, the NCAA is going to get its pound of flesh. It will, because we already go out of our way to dunk on the NCAA. I don't do it as much anymore because they're such an easy target, and the NCAA is not actually making the rules. The NCAA is a maid service at a hotel for its 1,600 members who all say that these are the rules that they want to play by until those rules affect them personally. And then they argue in state court, where usually you'll find a judge who is beyond reproach, or a judge that is leaning in favor of the hometown team. At Ole Miss, feels like they found a sympathetic judge to Ole Miss football. In Tennessee, not so much. And this is on and on across the board. And, you could have a states' rights argument about this or a federal rights argument about this, but it really defeats the point, because what we're talking about is challenging rules that we all acknowledged should be in place until we started paying players. And the transfer portal became an immediate opportunity to upgrade at every single position as soon as the season ends. Then we started to think that perhaps we can stretch this and we can get guys that are playing not just to 23, but to 24, 25, 26 years old, not because they enrolled in school when they were 22 years old, but because now they are veterans playing a game that is always supposed to be aged out of. And that is where the NCAA is trying its damnedest to put a foot down, but it can't do that against courts, because one of the things that we've always said about the NCAA and it lacking teeth is it doesn't have subpoena power. And to have subpoena power would need to be a government institution, and it is not, which is why you see so many people clamoring for Congress to get involved, because then you can have a government institution that can inflict penalties, criminal penalties in some cases, for breaking rules, for breaking law, as it were. I don't think this is going to get that far. I see bill here, bill there, rep here, rep there, senator here. None of it seems to go anywhere. It's all political grandstanding. It's, damn it, we ought to do something about this. And I'm going to do something about this. But you can't. You can't, or you would have, right? And the reason that you can't do anything about this is, one, you can't get anybody to agree on what the rules should be. It's one of the reasons I'm focused on the college football playoff as much as I am. It is this argument that we're having in microcosm. We cannot get the two biggest leagues in the sport to agree on a friggin' format for the college football playoff postseason, because they both seem to want to ensure they get the most amount of their own teams into the format as possible without really needing to play all the way to the end, right? I don't think you're going to get anybody that has a team in Florida and a team in California to agree on what the terms should be, because those two states don't have teams that play in both the SEC and the Big Ten, right? They play in one or the other. And if you are USC, UCLA, you're probably leaning toward the Big Ten. And if you're Florida State, you're probably leaning toward the SEC. Like, I don't think that Trinidad Chambliss should be allowed to play football this year, but it ain't up to me. And if he gets to play football this year, we will talk about him as a star football player, as a Heisman candidate, because he will be. And that's how we're going to remember the season. But Ole Miss is really risking its future, because, I mean, we're talking about, say Ole Miss goes and wins the national championship with Trinidad Chambliss as their quarterback. It's not going to be that far along before we come to understand that the NCAA has just decided to wash that from the books as a penalty. It'll be like a Pete Carroll USC team that we talk about. We know they're good, but we'll always hold them to the asterisk that we hold Michigan to, because we'll say Trinidad Chambliss should have never been eligible to play. To which Ole Miss and SEC fans probably will say, well, the court said he are, but the court doesn't have the best interest of college football at play. Not at the state level. And certainly when we're talking about guys that can readily screw up even the basic stats about who does what and don't really cover the sport or work in the sport day to day, I don't want to cede that ground to them. I want someone, or someones, I should say, that are in this thing every day to make the rules. I mean, it's not that far-fetched to me. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say I should be college football playoff commissioner, but I know a damn sight more about college football than these judges, and that should terrify you. That should terrify you. That's where we are, folks. When you have me looking at someone with a law degree and so many years behind the bench and asking them dead ass, do they really know this sport? And they don't, but they still got to make law around it or grant injunctions around it. We're in a bad place. We're in a bad place. We got to find a way to leave the college football to the college football people, but because we cannot agree on what that should be, everybody else is going to get involved. I don't think that's anything that we should risk. That's anything that we should want. We should deal with this before it gets too damn late.